Welcome back. It is Channel Sport on Sunday. And my expert analysts, full house. Those who went on our wall, those who we have to bring back through chartered flight. We're going to have a super bumper Sunday. I'm starting from the other end. Okay. Welcome back.
It's nice New Year and Happy New Year, Ken.
Yeah.
Good afternoon, Ken. Good afternoon, viewers. It's good to be back. Happy New Year.
I was wondering what happened. The interlude between Okwayemi and Yemi communicating, but it's always a pleasure to be here.
Okay.
My name remains Jimmy.
It's Jimmy. It's Jimmy. His name remains Jimmy. We are in the house, but then just been in the house. We are going straight directly to Australia. That is where the action is. I know we'll come back home here to Africa to see how the next champions, because the current champions of Africa, Nigeria, we are home. We're watching it here. We are watching it. We are in Lagos here, and from Calabar, from Ilorin, from Warri, Sapele, Benin, even from Uyo, they'll be watching it. We'll be watching it. And we'll do that, yes, whoever emerges as the African champion will be a worthy African champion. So we'll ask you to join us also in the conversation because we have a lot of golden generations in football. One that easily comes to mind is the Portuguese golden generation, where Luis Figo and co. People thought that they would take Portugal to the zenith, where Eusebio didn't take them to. But that team only played at the Euro final when they hosted, actually when Portugal hosted. They were semi-final, and final. And that was how they went. And also there was the English golden generation. But then that generation was not too golden because nobody were here. Coming out from the Manchester United team, of the Beckhams, the Neves, and the rest of them all, people thought, yes, Paul Scholes, one of the greatest people I've ever seen, can take them there, add Shearer, add other people who were just ahead of them. But then in '96, even when before then, when England hosted, it was the Germans that knocked them out right there at the semi-finals. And then you come down to Africa, where the golden generation, the African golden generation, Didier Drogba, Kolo Toure, Yaya Toure, how do I keep on Didier Zokora? And as they are moving on the Czech tweeters of this world, and then you now come in to see the new kid on the block, Bonnie. I mean, how do you expect this? Do you expect the Ivorians? Do you think the Ivorians will ever win the Nations Cup? After '92, Senegal '92, we remember, yes, I know Okpe will give us that history. Alan Gomeni, doing the whatever, and then the Yo, because they coach the Yo Marshall, the Marshall, it was Marshall music when the Ivorians, the Elephants, when the Traoré and Co won that Nations Cup. There has been the nearly men. Can the Ivorians? Do you think Cote d'Ivoire will win the Nations Cup 2015 in Malabo? That will be the talking point. When you tweet us, we shall retweet. We shall go back and let you know. Follow us on Twitter, channels at Channels TV, at Channels_sports, at Ken Ochonogo. Be part of the discussion. But then let's go to Australia. January is Australia.
Yes.
A is Australia. And
I think the interesting thing about the Australian Open, apart from the geographical, the lesson in geography, because it's way out. I remember they said the underworld, and I think for Australian Open there is no hangover. Straight from the festivity of Christmas, New Year, you launch back into real business. Yeah. And I think I just remember something. I think you can say, okay, this is the Lord of the Grass. This man is the Lord. You can say Federer is the Lord of Wimbledon, Lord of the Grass. You can say Bjorn Borg and Rafael Nadal, they are the lords of the clay. You can say, okay, Lendy or whoever, Lord of US Open, the hardcore. But for Australian Open, it's always it's anybody's game. It's the most open Grand Slam. Let me put it that way.
Just like you are sitting there. That was Lina.
Lina for you. So it's the most open Grand Slam, and it's something that should even give people inspiration that look, this is nobody's kingdom or nobody's coming here to dominate. If I choose to, I can actually make a name for myself here. And that is the beauty about the Australian Open. You have fantastic support base for everybody that does well. And of course, as I said, nobody can actually say this is my strong goal.
Okay, nobody can say my strong goal. That is her triumphing her second Grand Slam, and then after she won the French Open, but then she now said bye bye. Yemi, was a shocker to the world that Lee just said almost at the zenith of her game that she's not playing anymore.
Really, we would say it came as a rude shock to the tennis world and the entire sporting world that Lina, the first Asian to win a Grand Slam. And even Australia, the Grand Slam in Australia, that's talking about the Australia Open, and that to say she's calling it quit. But she called it quit not not because she wanted to, actually at that point in time, but injury would not just let her continue, and that's why she's saying bye-bye to the sport. And she has said, okay, I would give back to my little ones in China, let them be able to come through the ranks and get to the peak of their career. But like Okwe said, Australia is no man's land, but it's fast becoming a good hunting ground for a particular player. That's talking about Serena Williams, who's had more than 3 or 4 in this particular Grand Slam. She's aiming for a 19th career Grand Slam. And as far as I'm concerned, looking at the women's tour as we speak now, she doesn't seem to have any a great challenger. If you look at all of them, the closest rival to Serena Williams now will be Maria Sharapova. Others have been plagued with injury one way or the other. Look at the 2012 and 2013 winner. That's talking about Azarenka. In 2014, she suffered a series of injuries and stress-induced problems, and she's now ranked number 41. So if you look at the likes of Simona Halep, they're not really on top of their game. So as far as the Australian Open is concerned, for the women this year, Serena looks very, very good. Though she suffered a couple of injuries too, had some bad patch of form coming into this tournament, but this has always been a good hunting ground for Serena Williams.
Well, Ken, I think Serena last one maybe 2010. So it's not like dominating like US Open. I think she's going on like
in the past few years, Azarenka, it has been an Azarenka territory.
Yeah, I think prior to 2010, she was a regular victor in that sector, winning almost 5 titles. But since 2010, that ground has not been a favorable one for her.
So since Jimmy, Serena says she needs this, she needs more than another person.
Well, I feel I disagree a little bit with Yemi and Opayemi.
Okay.
Because in the last 5 years, it's been obvious Djokovic and Azarenka had been the hard-court specialists. If you look at the way they had been able to win the Australian Open. Okay. Serena saying that she really wants to win this has more to do with the fact that she knows that she has not done too well on the hard court. She's won several competitions between then and now. But if you look at it, she's not been commandeering when it comes to the hard court of recent, especially being the first slam of the season. But most times she does get it right. The second and the third slams of the season, she does get, especially going into the latter part of the season, when other players
are losing to 14 seeded Anna Ivanovic.
So I want to say audaciously that I don't think that Serena would also win this. A lot goes into it. Audaciously, I have to say.
Please, let me interrupt you. Take note of that word, audaciously.
Audaciously.
Because in 2 weeks' time, when Serena lifts that trophy,
she might not.
We all will remind Jimmy of that audaciously. Jimmy, we are marking, we are keeping it intact.
You know, some of these things that, there comes a point in time where a player has got to suffer some, loss of form because of age. Now she's aging fastly.
At 33.
And I have to tell you the honest truth. She's not really playing at the best of, at the peak of her career. When she played the Hopman Cup, the Cup, playing against some of the best players, playing against Poland, Janowicz and Radwanska, she didn't play too well. So I would say our preparation coming into this particular
age is affecting her movement.
It has begun.
That is expected. This was a player that finished 2014 as world number 1.
That's exactly what I'm saying. She might not get into the groove early enough.
The 8th thing, I think, just reminds me of someone like Melinote. When at her old age,
Yeah,
and
an athlete,
she was still
39.
dominating.
Yeah.
And she said, look, if you want me out, let them push me out.
Not
But
even the
Serena is aging, but nobody has had that confidence to take her out.
But Jimmy is saying
Serena
that
is number one based
she's
on
number one,
points
but she's
ranking.
not. She has not been dominant.
She has not
the way
been dominant.
That dominant force is no longer there.
That
She
would
has not
be
been dominant and she finished the year
No,
as
Ken,
number
the
one.
dominant-
and the tennis player.
Okay,
Yeah,
the
not like-
dominance would
Because of
be
the
you are
point-based
using
ranking.
our class, the Serena class.